Up over here. There we go. And I'm gonna switch this over here so I can have that a little better view over here for everybody. There we go. Up over here. All right. Welcome everybody to our Q review of the Scorch Picture in Composer Exchange, our community of composers where we practice and do fun stuff together, collaborate, share ideas, and that sort of thing. Today we are reviewing Cosmos, which is a QTube Q. And the first one up is Lisa Tough Lee. This is so exciting. You're back joining us. Everybody ready for some fun?
Yeah.
So much enthusiasm there, Carl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Can I get a hoorah? Anyways, here we go.
Tell me, does one choose to be alone? No, one doesn't. Just give me 1 minute of your precious time.
Precious time.
My name's Victor. Oh, you are so much more than just a sheep, aren't you? Look at you. You're an adventurer, Frank. A lone wolf.
It took me ages to tie that rope with my fucking hoofs.
Can't hear you, Chris.
You're muted.
I'm really good at lip sync. Anyways, that was really nice job. There was some I really liked the way that it built at the end, and you were using the percussion and the unique textures in there. I probably would have, I would suggest catching a couple things in the beginning, like this what felt a little awkward to me, but right here when he jumps off, I think it needs something that emphasizes you just went from contemplation to taking action right here. Okay. He just committed right there. I love the accent coming down on that, but that commit right there when he jumped off the rock, I think it would have been good for you to connect with that. The other thing that I remembered when I was going through this, I like this. You come in here, you catch the music. But when it comes from here to there, it's we're in a different scene. We're in a different place. We're back to him where he is in his space. This is his world. And this is a different place, right? And you captured that. Great. That was really nice. But it almost, it's something needs to happen that's different there. I felt that would, come back to his lonely space. And the other, the mood or the feeling of the other didn't seem to connect with that part of it for me. Like through into here. But now when you came into here, from here on out, I really thought you had some really interesting things. So it was a really nice job. I really like what you did. Very creative ideas in there. Carl, what did you think?
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thanks. I like the unusual palette that you used. I don't know if there was sound design in there or not, but the percussion flavors were really interesting and caught my ear.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of been my thing, just using different sonic sounds to, to change it up, like,
You started beating on
yeah, some
stuff
of it
in the
was sound
kitchen.
design, some of it was just, yeah.
You went
Sorry, go
into
ahead.
the kitchen. You went in the kitchen and started banging on stuff. Recorded it. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
it's the drummer in you. You got it. What you got, Art? What are your thoughts and suggestions?
It's interesting how everybody has a different perspective of how to approach things. And that's always what interests me the most about this is even in the harmony group, it's like you have a technique and you can go 5 different ways with the same technique. I love the palette. I thought it was interesting. There was a panning thing that you were doing in the beginning. I guess it was with that bell thing. And that was really interesting. I don't know. I tend to think that this is less of a Mickey Mouse thing than some of the other ones. To me, I didn't catch a lot either. I mean, I caught some things, but not like heavy. So I don't know whether that's necessary throughout this one, but that's all a matter of opinion and matter of taste and what you want to do. I thought it was maybe a little too hot at places. I felt that it was so upfront that it was a little bit distracting from what was going on. But, that's also a matter of what people want, what the director wants, So, yeah, nice job, Lisa. Thank you.
Cool. Did you want to say
Thank
anything,
you
Lisa,
so much.
on your approach or what you?
No, well, it's good to be back. uh, well, I just kind of go with the feeling and the mood. Like I wanted to get away from Disney. I'm like, oh, animation, and you want to obviously jump to animation means fun and happy, but not all of them like Pixar. They're you know. So I kind of went a different way than what would normally be out there. So I used different kind of palettes, and I just felt that the film had really deep themes. That has been dealing with now that's in society. So I didn't want to go light, but I did use some sounds that are a little brighter just to, make it less sad, I guess.
It was
Or
an interesting keyboard type sound that you did with the melody. What was that?
yeah.
It was
I
almost
think
like
it's
a celeste or a calliope or something.
yeah, it's like a little calliope or like, like one of the, I think it may be under the the toy box kind of
Right.
collection, where you
Yeah.
have the dun, 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 and then I
Right.
just kind of emphasize it with a little reverb and made it airy, to air it out, to make it less in your face.
Right.
Because that one was really, so I brought it down, I aired it out a little bit with some reverb and so yeah, okay, gave it a little bit of movement, but yet not too, yeah.
And you brought it back later in the piece too, which was very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Cool.
right, awesome. No, thank you guys.
All right, Carl, you're up, bud. Here we go. Let's take a listen. Hopefully, it won't get stuck on us.
Tell me, does one choose to be alone? No, one doesn't. Just give me 1 minute of your precious time.
Precious time.
My name's Victor. Oh, you are so much more than just a sheep, aren't you? Look at you. You're an adventurer, Frank. A lone wolf.
No! 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 It took me ages to tie that rope with my fucking hoofs.
Cool. Yeah, I like I like the fact that you had kind of a string thing going, because I kind of did the same type of a thing. And I like the fact that you caught that going back to him being alone, like I had pointed out with Lisa. And it felt like it was a little bit, it felt a little bit too strong. What, I had originally, when I sat down and did it, I came up, I was doing some little, things with multiple notes. And I found that for me, what worked was just being more one voice, because it's one guy, one voice, loneliness, right? So I might have pulled that back just a little bit, so that it had less of a harmony. The sounds were fine for that. And I like the way that your theme that you had throughout that was with him in the beginning and that little section. I like the way that you kind of blended those two at the end for that buildup. There was one little spot in there that felt, where was it? Right in here. The drums felt, I mean, I'm a drummer. I love, and they were cool, but it felt like it was a little bit too strong for coming into this. I loved it when it got to here. There was a groove going, but I think you had the drums coming in with that. Maybe some other way of fight. I like the colors are just, that's such a cool place to put an accent. It just felt a little bit too strong. I don't know. I liked it. It was a love-hate, right? I liked it, and it didn't feel like it fit, but that's a subjective thing. I do like the fact that when you came out of here and you went back to these guys right here, you pulled out, and that was great. That, I think that made a nice transition into here. You could have taken advantage of doing something in that little bit right in here, something that kind of brings them back in to the fact that there's a musical score there. But I like the way you kind of pulled back for that. But overall, very interesting. Nice job. Worked out really well. What do you think, Lisa?
Same. So, I mean, as far as like, I love the strings, I wish the strings had a little bit more movement. Going throughout, kind of telling a story with the story. The drums coming in was very interesting use of the drums. Like, it's kind of like the 80s. I love it because that's coming back right now. But I agree that it should have been maybe a little bit later, as the action was taking place with the coloring. But overall, it was, all well put together, So yeah.
How about you, Art?
At first I didn't quite get the drums, but then I figured it out. And, it's like, oh, that's when he puts the headphones on. So he's listening to different music than is going on in the video. So the video is the strings and that kind of spooky sound. And what he's listening to is completely different. So that's what he's hearing in his headphones when the sheep is hearing something else. The only thing, I thought that was a cool idea. And at first I was like, what? The drums don't make sense here. But then I thought, oh, we put his headphones on. But anyway, I thought that the theme was a little too, it wasn't exactly sad. It was scary or spooky or like something's going to happen. And something does happen. But I think in the beginning, it could have been a little more plaintive, a little more sad, rather than kind of eerie and suspenseful, which is the kind of feeling that I got in the beginning. I used the choir too. I think that's like, this has got to have a choir in the end, with the ethereal part and all. But it was really cool. I liked it. It's interesting. Different perspective once again, and everybody's got a different.
That's what makes it fun.
Idea. Am I right with that, Carl? Was that what you were thinking with the drums and the earphones?
Oh, yeah.
What makes you choose?
Exactly. That was his theme.
Gotcha.
Cool. Anything else you want to say about it there, Carl? Did you learn anything? Was it fun, interesting? Something stands out?
yeah, it was fun. I mean, I did pay a little attention to the spotting, and that's how I was able to catch the change back from the guy with the headphones to the sheep again. And I thought going into the more spooky thing worked as it got closer to the climax.
Yeah, I think probably that's true, but I think in the beginning you didn't know what was going to happen. So it was like sort of more, well, everybody's got
Yeah, originally I thought that I had it scored to where it was not just sad but depressed. But then as the theme developed, I thought it got more weird and spooky.
Got more spooky feeling. Yeah. I
Right.
noticed it
That was
more
the idea.
in the end. In the end, the spookiness really pulled out. Identify.
Yeah, that was the idea. I didn't want to have too many themes in a minute and a half, so that's why I didn't do anything different on the very front end.
I usually try to get every lick I know within every minute.
I've been there.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess mine's up next, and I'll take this in here. Before I play this, Carl, did you say you had spotting notes? Did you get spotting notes for this?
No, I didn't.
You made your own. You made your
My
own.
own.
Yeah.
He spotted it himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and the reason I bring that up is I signed up for a higher membership with QTube now. I don't know how to cancel a Patreon. That's what the next thing, but I'm over on their website now, and I got spotting sessions for a couple of these. They don't have it for the Creed. I was originally looking because I wanted to look at this, but I found the Penguin, and the beauty is, that had I known what the spotting session was, their spotting session, I would have done something very completely different. And I think that it's worth going back for me to do that again, do a second take on it, going specific to their spotting session. Because
Chris.
What do you think?
What I was going to ask you about is, so in other words, if you were with Patreon and signed up with that, you have to change over to their system, or does it automatically do it?
It doesn't automatically do it. They're on a completely different platform.
So in other words,
Still
I
doing stuff
have to
over on.
Patreon and sign up for the YouTube one.
I think that's what has to happen, because it's a complete shopping cart over on their system.
Yeah, but if you're already in the other one, you would think they would just transfer over,
I would think, but I wasn't really able to get.
Okay, I'll have to scope that out.
And
It's only $1 a month. It's not like,
well, to get the spotting sheets, it's
oh, I know, it's more,
$5 to sign up.
right?
And it's $5 a month, or €5 a month. But
So
you
now they're charging you to sign up too?
I believe that's what that is. The first one doesn't have a sign up charge. The lower rate doesn't.
Right.
You can get the
Oh,
start.
really? Okay, gotcha.
And then if you go after the premium, what they actually do is the next level, which is above the level that I got, they'll actually review your cues. So they'll take time to kind of go through it and give you information.
Everybody's got a gimmick.
Yeah.
Gotta have a gimmick.
It's kind of like what we've got going on here, and that's okay.
Right.
That works. I don't need that because we have this, which is
Right.
awesome. All right, so here we go. This is my take on this, and there's a couple things I would have changed a little bit in this, but for now, I'm done. So
Tell me, does one choose to be alone? No, one doesn't. Just give me 1 minute of your precious time.
Precious time.
My name's Victor. Oh, you are so much more than just a sheep, aren't you? Look at you. You're an adventurer, Frank. A lone wolf.
Yeah.
No! 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 No!
It took me ages to tie that rope with my fucking hoofs.
Ta-da, boom. All right, Carl, fire away first.
Oh, yeah, I think you structured it really well. I like the way you you used the same approach, bringing in a theme for the fellow with the Walkman, and then dropped it out and reprised it again as he came back. And then you used it on your outro too. That was new. That was cool. So yeah, good structuring. You used a bass theme where I used a drum theme basically on him. Yeah, and I like the way you caught that cue where he actually jumps off the rock at the beginning. A distinction from the solo string to a chord there, or a harmony. And I liked it. It was good.
I was trying to get that, that squeaky thing, but I was
Yeah.
limited. It's a tritone, but I was trying to get that. I couldn't find it. And I was like, whatever. But I know it exists. It's like, for a real gig, I would go and find that little, that effect, which is pretty cool.
So more of a tortured string.
Yeah, it's just like that, just a growl,
Yeah.
But they can, violins can do two notes at once. So it's an effect anyways. Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, the great choice of strings and, emphasizing the different, moods of the different characters. For me, when it got to the end, when the drums came in and the music came in, I wish it'd be a little stronger, a little more intense, but maybe I'm intense. Because mine was a little more intense, kind of like Art was saying. I wish, I love the use of the guitar, I just wish it was like a little more intense and a little more kind of sporadic, kind of like that whole scene, like the sky is opening up. It's like, what is going on, But overall, yeah, you definitely, nail each scene and each mood of each scene, So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the solo violin in the beginning, and I thought that was very appropriate. And I like the double stop when he jumps off the kind of reminded me like a Sorcerer's Apprentice or something, with no, it's not Sorcerer's Apprentice. What's the famous piece with the violinist, the crazy violinist? I don't know. But anyway, that was really effective. And yeah, you did the same thing as Carl did, which was like, okay, this guy is bass theme, but it seemed like it was coming through his headphones too. And you brought that back. I do feel that at the end, before the outro, that the strings should have maybe faded out, or it seemed like they abruptly stopped. And I think I would have done something a little different there before the bass theme comes back in. Yeah, it had a lot of.
You mean when I stopped out before he says, the fucking hooves?
Right. Yeah.
So you think I should have had something kind of going through that?
It's well, either that or fade them out and then the bass thing comes in, because it seemed like it just went, stopped. But, that's trivial kind of thing. Overall, it was great. Nice job. Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I questioned about that, and I was like, well, it's a natural space because of what he's saying.
Right.
He's very abrasive and, fucking hooves, and that was okay to let that be the accent for me.
But it was before that you cut the strings out, right?
I cut it out right at that spot. Well, I slowly kind of faded out a couple other things before that one string was just holding on, and then
Gotcha.
I cut out right.
I'd have to see it again. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, thank you. Let's take a listen to what you got there, Art. Where we go? Boom.
Tell me, does one choose to be alone? No, one doesn't. Just give me 1 minute of your precious time.
Precious time.
My name's Victor. Oh, you are so much more than just a sheep, aren't you? Look at you. You're an adventurer, Frank. A lone wolf.
It took me ages to tie that rope with my fucking hoofs.
Wow, that was cool, man. That's a really good what you did different from all of us is you really had the theme building in the right all the way through right up to the big climax right there. You could have, it works without it, but he could have done a little thing just right in as after the island, the fucking hooves.
Right. I decided not to do any music after that. Just like I decided not to start the music until actually
It was a conscious decision, and it worked. What you did absolutely worked, and I love the orchestration. It was really, when you came in the beginning with harmonies, that was like, and then all of a sudden, right when you got to the rock, you put the right color in there, so it was like, okay, it works, But I was questioning that right at the beginning, and then bam, you tied it together. So, but that's okay, because that's the idea of like an anticipation, which was really neat. But I really loved what you did. I really liked your approach. I might borrow that sometime, where you take that and you build it all the way up through so like in that spot where is it, right here where you're coming back here. So you're taking this and then you're building from here. You're building on it ever so slightly. And then you're building on it and you continue to build. You kept it all together as a cohesive piece that really worked. And then you brought in the right accents and flourishes and stuff like that as it's going through this to the climax. And I really, that one of the things that, what I felt my tendency was like right here where they come to this guy is I dropped stuff out because I wanted to feel like, okay, it's a difference, like this airy space. But it worked really nice what you did, because it kept it. And then this is either that like you're dropping out or you're building up, and you chose to build up, and you're really just like da 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 pow. You're right there. That was awesome. That was really nicely done.
And did anybody notice what I did on the last part there with the strings? Does anybody know what that was?
Did you steal something from somebody?
It's a diminished scale.
Oh, you did your diminished scale. There you go. From Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like diminished scale out,
Yeah. Very cool. Very nice work. I really enjoyed that. How about you, Lisa? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, mastered the bill. Like I'm still trying to, master the build up. Just having a constant theme and then just smacking people beside the head and then bringing them back down, from the climax. But yeah, great use of strings, and it reminded me of because I don't know if this is a British film, because most British, if you know about British animations, they're very dark and deep, and they use the same kind of music and theme. So I wasn't sure if you were a fan of any British animations.
Nope.
So
Nothing of it.
no, okay, yeah, have seen before, yeah, like Mighty Pythons and other like weird,
Well, I
but
mean,
yeah, it was great.
it's that sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly. It's a dark, yeah, they have a very dark but yet sense of humor, type of vibe. So yeah, it worked. So with the strings and everything and the whole like the climax and stuff, yeah, it was great.
Well,
yeah.
Art's a Trekkie. He's got tribbles and he's got pointed ears. He, dresses up on the weekends, but he's not into the British. Anyways, I'm teasing you, bud.
Well, I mean, I like Monty Python,
Yeah, Monty Python's. Oh, yeah.
And I can't think of the other one. The dog is the white dog. I can't think of him because I used to watch that one. He's like white dog and he talks. I can't think of that one. But yeah, I used to watch British. Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, I used to.
Like the spam, eggs and spam.
Yeah.
Wonderful spam. Wonderful spam.
All right, we're digressing. Carl, what you got there, bud?
Oh, Art, I
Spam
thought,
for us?
yeah, I'm here. I love the string quartet at the beginning. That was really nice music leading up into him jumping off the rock. And your approach, as Chris said, really worked. I think the key word he mentioned was cohesive. It kept the whole thing together as one unit. And the way you did it was great. All with orchestra, not a bunch of special effects or
Well, I did use one
goofy
riser.
trailer builds.
I did use one riser, and
You did?
yeah, but it's really, it's hard to bring this stuff out. I have a hard time. I don't, it's a fine line between making a riser be effective and be overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, there's that riser. Okay. But it's there, but it's hard. I think it's more of a feel than it's a pretty long riser too. It starts probably about when the French horns come in, and it carries through all the way to the end. Oh no, there's two risers, right? There's one that ends, and then there's another one that I used at the end. Yeah, and there's some synth effects too, but it's in the background.
Yeah, well, it was subtle because what I was hearing was mostly the full orchestration. And I really liked the way you built that up, adding the woodwinds and then the horns, and it's great.
Yeah, I cheated. I used Hollywood winds for the rips, for the woodwind rips.
Oh, okay.
They were nice though. I mean, it doesn't matter necessarily how you get there. It's just that you get.
They work. It's an effect,
Exactly.
It's supposed to be. It is what it is.
One of the things I learned and noticed in doing the Brigadoons scoring competition is that I didn't. What's that? Brigadoon?
Bridgerton.
Bridgerton. I didn't know what he meant either. I was thinking Brigadoon.
Yeah.
I got in the bad, anyways. But Bridgerton, when I did that, and I actually enjoyed the series. I went back and watched the series after I did the cue, and I looked at what I did, and I'm really proud of what I did. I really liked it. I connected in a good way. I had that question at that one silent. There's a very silent spot where if I was doing the cue for real, I probably would have just let it be silence. But I played through it because it's a competition. There's this kind of subjective thing with that. But one of the things that I noticed, as opposed to really, I was comfortable with connecting to the scene and the mood and the emotion, but I listened to what the original composer did, and he did like you did, Art. In this case, he had a score that went through the whole thing, and being able to really connect that music with the variety of moods, where it's one cohesive theme, but it's connecting, but it's not, I don't want to use the term Mickey Mouse, but it's not as abrupt over those transitions. It's just it's changing, it's changing and building. It's setting a tone underneath it, where if you're listening, you're really, and this is the challenge. If you're listening, you're really able to hear it and pull out, yeah, that's cool music. But if you're watching it and you're following the story first and not getting distracted and sucked into it, it's working at a different level. And I think that's a really hard thing for us to do as composers, to really be able to make that connection.
Well, the thing is that a lot of people who were like Tony and other people that I've seen, they say it's all about the story.
Yep.
So if the music is taking you out of the story, then you really haven't done your job, because you're not listening, you're not realizing what the story is,
And I guess it depends on the style of the of what the story is presenting, because I think it's, just like sound design is there to actually accent, what's happening. So what I find is like when they're, because sometimes we get these cues to practice, where we're 2 years ago, Klaus, there was no sound design. It was just silent and just the clip. And then you're following along, kind of assuming what's going to happen there. And you're kind of putting in a few things just so you are hitting those accents, because there is no sound design. But then like this year with the other one that they did, what was that one called? The Tomb of Death or something. What was the one where we did it here? Jones, the guy, they were going down the river. What was that called?
Oh yeah. Tad Jones.
Tad Jones. That one, I listened to what the guy did. There was one of the guys from Cinematic Composing that got a runner-up, or he got like a or something like that. I really love what he did. Oh my,
he did a really nice job.
Really good. I was really impressed with it, and I liked what I did and I enjoyed it, but it's my style. But I see how what he did really matched better,
Right.
for what that. But the point is that, so he probably, and that style demands that you're really doing kind of more of a Mickey Mouse, as opposed to like a Brigaton that you can take a whole scene and you can do start to finish. One of the other things that's kind of a weird challenge I find is that quite often they're doing clips. Like what was the one what was the one we were talking about before, where it didn't make sense? The last one that we did,
Goodbye Brother, with the hole that didn't get any bigger.
No, that was a different kind of critique. There was another one we were talking about that we had scored somewhere, that it just seems like there was a piece missing, and quite often they'll do that with these.
Oh, it was this one. It was this one, because you said that you couldn't figure out who the guy was and what his relationship.
Yeah. That's right. Because we were talking about this in Harmony Chat. So yeah, when you get to, where was it? It's that he doesn't necessarily make sense. You come in here, why is this guy here? What, you got this lonely guy and then he's calling the clouds, but there's no connection between this and that. There's something missing in the storyline. You've got the setup for his mental state and condition and the premise of the story, but then there's like, why is he getting pulled away? Why does he get sucked up to heaven? There's that gap in the storyline, and that's because there's a chunk missing. Now it makes sense, and it makes it an interesting, fun piece for us to work with in this case, but that little section is gone, and so what we're doing with our music technically has to fill that gap.
Well, you basically create your own story. You say,
Exactly.
Okay, what is the relationship? Oh, my opinion is that relationship is,
This one's a little more subtle and it's not as big of a deal, but I've seen some of them where they're just huge gaps where you're going, what? Like, oh, the one that got me was Score the World this year with the Shirley Temple. I don't know if you looked at that. It's like, really? There was just such a gap in the storyline for parts of it. It was really, that was the hardest one. I was not happy with how I did on that one. I liked parts of it, but it just was difficult to.
Did anybody notice, or was it just me, that the sound design on this one was like really all over the place? Because like when you're in the place where you see his wings on the back of his shirt or back of his coat, the ocean and the wind is like really loud, and then as soon as it goes to the sheep, it's like placid again. Did anybody else notice that?
Yeah, the audio was really weird. And then the first part, it was so much dark. I just cut it because it was like too much dark.
Well,
I said there was supposed to be credits there.
right.
So I kind of snipped it
Oh,
together
okay.
to make it one. Yeah, it was too much dark. I'm like, is it supposed to be credits here? Is that why it's so dark? I'm like, why is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I looked
I
at
had
it
to mess
like,
with the audio.
okay, the dialogue is important here. I'll start the music when actually the video starts. But
Yeah.
it just seemed like that the sound design and the narration was like all over the place as far as
Yeah, I
volume.
thought that the narration could have been a little bit stronger in the mix of it. That I definitely would have liked to see.
I just used the time. I used the automation in the to like bring up or bring down the volume on the
Same here. Like I did a lot of editing and engineering. Yeah.
I
on
really
there,
like
actually.
that black space in the dark space in the beginning to that allowed me to set up the theme. I like that for the approach that I did, but
Yeah.
what you did worked too. So because it's an obvious start.
What was the violin that you used, Chris?
I think it's it's a solo violin of Stradivarius solo violin.
From CQ, from I'm sorry, Cremona Quartet.
I think so. It's a one of the things with contact.
Is it Native Instruments?
Native Instruments. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's Cremona Quartet. That's what I use too for my quartet.
I really like that.
I do too.
I like it for it stands out. I've gotten pegged with like taxi queues where they like, get some decent libraries. Like, well, really? But I really think it's from some of the ones that I've compared it to, it's really pretty good.
It ain't the plumbing, it's the plumber.
That's true.
As long as you got good libraries, it's hard to make them sound good. We're all learning. That's part of what we're learning.
Well, and then you do have folks like that are able to do well with limited libraries.
Crappy libraries, yeah. Well, that's because they're good. They
Exactly.
they know what they're doing.
All right, so I'm going to wrap this up, and so we don't keep other folks on too long if they're watching this online. Thank you all for joining us. If you stuck with us here to talk shop about Score to Picture, Composer Exchange is a open community. It's free. So if you want to join us, reach out somehow and find me, and I'll get you in and get you the keys, and we can have some fun and collaborate together and do sessions just like this. So if you want to learn film composing, you want to practice, that's what we do. We critique and help each other learn and grow and experiment with stuff. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. And where's the button now on this thing?